disrupted.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen. So there may have been a moment in time, as we're discussing what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania with Donald Trump being shot at. There may have been a moment previously that warned the American public that there was going to be an assassination attempt. It was predicted. And the one that actually predicted that was Tucker Carlson. Because Tucker Carlson, being the journalist that he is, has reported on the many times that they tried to take down Trump. And recently said this on, I think it was Adam Carolla's show that Rising picked up, and mentioned about how this was kind of the last resort the establishment had into trying to cancel Donald Trump. They have tried to impeach him. They have tried to arrest him. They have tried to call him names. They tried to silence his social media account and following and call half the country a bunch of deplorables. They did the Russiagate scandal. They've done everything they can to cancel this guy out. Everything that they can. And now here's Tucker Carlson showing you how this is all calculated, that to the last point, they were going to have to potentially do an assassination attempt as a last resort for the establishment to take down Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is soaring. Donald Trump is, his approval rating is skyrocketing. His popularity has gained over the past few years. And as they're seeing, you know, the horrificness of Joe Biden and his administration and the horribleness of this establishment trying to pin him out, it's just making Trump more favorable. It's bouncing back in their face. They're getting the most blowback from trying to take down Donald Trump. And Tucker Carlson's going to say this is the last resort upcoming.
On ridiculous, they called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times, and every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously, and no one will say that, but I don't know how you can reach that conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, they have decided, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him.
That was said at the beginning of this year. This was said 6 months ago. That it was predicted, no doubtably, that both Democrats and Republicans, the never Trump crowd, the establishment, were going to find some last resorts to take down Donald Trump. The indictments, the impeachments, the trumped-up charges, the protesting, the verbal assaults, the altercations, the allegations, none of that has worked. None of that has failed to take down this guy. They have done every single action to try to silence out Donald Trump. And this is their last resort. So, no doubtably, does this seem like this is the establishment's last deploy, getting a 20-something-year-old, small town bumpkin from Pennsylvania, a social outcast reject, to try to assassinate the former president, and having the Secret Service and law enforcement fail that day to secure the president and the people within the crowd. It seems all well too played out for it to just be a coincidence that a 20-something-year-old was able to shoot down the former president. And this was said 6 months ago on Adam Carolla's show that Rising is reporting on this, saying we're speeding towards an assassination. And no doubtably, because we're only a short months away from the election. And by the looks of it, and now after the scenario that just happened, after what we just witnessed, Donald Trump no doubtably is going to become president. No doubtably, he is going to become the president. Joe Biden needs a fucking miracle. He needs a goddamn miracle to have any chance to stand up towards a character like DJT. He needs a goddamn miracle. Well, he needs a new brain, for one thing. He needs a brain, period. One that isn't discarded and melted and completely mutating. But there's no hope for the rest of the establishment. The establishment has already been exposed, and every time they try to take down Donald Trump, it makes it even worse for them, and it makes Donald Trump more credible to what he's saying. And that's what people like about him. Even when they tried to smear him about being a white supremacist. Well, it turns out the people that attend his rallies the most are people of color. So now they can't even use that narrative. They can't even use the white supremacist narrative or the Christian nationalist narrative, because Jews are supportive of him, Muslims are supportive of him, Catholics, Hindus, atheists, agnostics. They're losing touch. They're losing their ability to control. And when they lose their ability to control, they go to the last resort. And it just seems all too well. Just seems all too familiar from the last times that they've tried to control people, to manipulate, to brainwash, to seize as much of a person as they can. And when they can't do that, oh, they're doing serious damage. Serious damage. Not only did Tucker Carlson figure this out long ago, here's Andrew Tate. Now, Andrew Tate, as you know, has had allegations done up by the establishment, trumped up charges put on him. So he kind of knows a thing or two about these kind of deep state ploys to silence or discredit people. And here's what he says about Donald Trump and the assassination attempt.
I was going viral on the fucking internet telling all of you. I said they try and cancel you. If cancellation fails, they try and put you in jail. And if that fails, they fucking kill you. I was saying this last year. I was saying it after I rejected their fucking money. I rejected their money to sell my soul, and I started saying on every podcast, they're gonna hit me with a bullshit case. They're gonna try and put me in jail. And when I got out of jail, I said on every podcast, I'm uncomfortable because I know I'm on my last fucking life. Look what they've done to Trump. Look at it. They canceled him. They deleted him from everything. Nobody cared. It didn't work. They tried to put him in jail. That's failed. Now they killed him. You get 3 lives against these people. The second you've been canceled, next is a fucking case. And if you beat that case, they're going to put a bullet in you. It happens every fucking time. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. You better pray for Donald Trump because he is fighting evil. You do not want the people who are against Trump in charge of anything, especially not your fucking life. I don't care what you call yourself, Democrat, Republican, no matter what it is. You need to pray for Donald Trump and pray for him right now. He's the last fucking hope for Western civilization as you know it. I promise you that.
So that's Andrew Tate saying that this was the establishment doing against Donald Trump. This was deeply tied within the deep state because this is how they've always wanted to take down Donald Trump. That was their goal. That was their objective. And since the lying, the meddling, the crazed conspiracies that they came up with, the impeachments that they tried to charge him with, the insidious amounts of legal allegations and the Stormy Daniels case, the classified documents, the rating of Mar-a-Lago, the seizing of assets, the banking negotiation, like everything that they've tried to do and cultivize Trump of doing and weaponizing him as a criminal and a felon is not working. It's not working. People are not going to fall for it. People are not falling for it. And the silence, the censorship, it's not working. So they are desperate to do anything means necessary to silence out Donald Trump. And what is their last resort when you can't conceivably, force people into believing your agenda? You take down that opponent. You take them down by a violent force. And they've always wanted to take down, and even if it wasn't Donald Trump, anyone that stands outside the status quo, anyone that stands outside the establishment is met with a target on their back. And the only reason that never happened to someone like Bernie Sanders or AOC or the people that pretend to be outside the establishment is because they eventually found their way. They eventually sold themselves out and become the little cretins that they've become. Now Bernie Sanders doing, op-ed pieces for the New York Times. Oh, Joe Biden, even though I disagree with him, I still consider him a friend. I still consider him a good friend, and I don't want a game show host as a president. Forget the revolution. Stay inside the Democrats. That's what Bernie Sanders has become. Become a cuck of the establishment. The guy who coined the phrase, we need a revolution outside the political spectrum, is now a serious ass-kissing cuck of the establishment norm. And that's why they're going after someone like Trump, because even the times that Trump did side with the establishment, even the times that he was that billionaire, golf buddy for all the actors and stuff, that's still not good enough for the establishment. They want direct control of people. Direct control. That's why they get, Robert De Niro, fake tough guy Robert De Niro, who's been in gangster movies, to cry on camera and pretend to care about politics. How fucking hilarious that is. And how stupid that is for his career. Or they get Bill Maher to talk about how he's not going to have a talk show anymore if Donald Trump gets elected again. The bogus stupidity that comes out of these people. And the reason they do that is because they have full control. They have them by the balls, as George Carlin would say. They have them by the balls. And they just want to grab control of that person and use and abuse them as much as possible. But someone like Donald Trump, he's a wild card. He's uncontrollable. Some things he may say that's towards the establishment, some things he may say that's against the establishment. He was the one that wanted to shake hands with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, and people freaked out about that. He is trying to make negotiations with Vladimir Putin. He was the one that wanted to get the troops out of Syria. He was the one that wanted to stop shipments of weaponry to Ukraine. He was the one that called out that we were in Syria for the oil. These are all things that the establishment hated him so much about. Hated him. Because they don't have direct control of that person. And that is going against their insidious agenda against humanity. And when you don't have control over someone and you can't bribe them, you can't, cheat them out or cancel them out, as Andrew Tate even says, they're going to end you. They're going to end you. So there's Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate, both saying this. And we have known throughout, since 2016, that there was always that possibility that the establishment was going to do the most outrageous, dirtiest thing to Donald Trump imaginable. And at this point, they are going to try to kill him off. They are going to try to delete him out. And this just seems absolutely planned out. And where I don't believe for a second of anything that mainstream establishment television reporting is telling you about this. It's not a coincidence. It's a deep insider job that's not being addressed, that's not being fully told to you. There's no investigation. And again, we're still getting information about all this, but how they're trying to spin it is just absolutely callous, as we're about to show you later on. It's just what mainstream television has done in the arts of journalism, but in this case, it's just absolutely disgusting, malice, and just reprehensible, just absolutely disgusting. And I can't believe that they would lie to their own audience in this way. I can't believe that they would do this to deceive people. And there's still some people that soak it in. There's still people to this day that still talk about January 6th being the Pearl Harbor of attacks. There's still people to this day that think Russia has control over elections. There's still people to this day that think Joe Biden should get another 4 years. Let's give him another chance. But this is where I fully stand. I said it before, but this is now I've confirmed myself that there's definitely a lot more of the story that needs to be investigated than what they're telling you.